important. This is why belief in Christ is important, because when you have that belief, because there are times, honestly, right? Like for a while I was driving overnight, I would listen to this show actually when I'd be driving overnight, right? Like after the show had already aired. And there were times when, dude, like I would like, it almost invokes like a feeling, an awareness. And then if your mind starts saying certain things, you can bring that energy.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the big things that I believe fundamentally is that one of the best things that we can do to protect ourselves against malevolent forces is they don't have the ability to read the future. They don't have like omnipotence, right? And so if you ever pray in your head, only God can hear you, right? But that power, it's almost like it invokes God's power to like basically intervene. And so if you say things out loud, then everyone can hear it. But if you think things in your mind, but then I also think that there's an energy that you can like almost shift, that you're inviting things to come and happen, right? So I think all of that kind of comes into play, but there's been times when I've listened to a couple of shows and I've heard some people's stories, and then I'll get a little bit of flickers of activity here and there. So then I just plead the blood of Jesus, and I'm usually really, really good to go.
We needed you for our first 20 episodes when we were got
No
the gremlins
doubt.
coming into the room.
Yeah, seriously. I agree. It was actually her husband, Chris, called me after our first episode, and it was like, love the show, but you know you're going to invite a lot of dark stuff into your lives now. I'm like, I already got a lot of stuff. Like, because it's funny. It's not funny, but this is true. I also drowned as a child. I don't think I died.
Sure.
But I was brought out of the water and had to be resuscitated.
Okay.
By resuscitate, I mean like they had to pump the water out.
Sure.
I don't know to what extent. But
Yeah.
that really freaked me out, and I have clear memories of that. But I was older, I think, than you. You said you were 5.
No, I was like less than 1.
You were 1. Okay, I was probably 5.
Because like I was born in California, and my mom said I was a water baby, so I would like go and like water baby it up, and like maybe I was a little bit older, but yeah, it was less than 5.
Right,
sure.
and I think I was around 5 or 6. It was swimming lessons, of course. I drowned at swimming lessons.
Of course,
that's just my luck. But that for sure had some effect on me, I think. Not that I had the experiences you had at all, but definitely seen past a veil.
Yeah.
A lot. And growing up in the woods, surrounded by just forest, had a big impact on me as well. And you start to be, suspicious of reality. What happened to Garrett?
Yeah, so kind of wild, right? So you fast forward, he had a lot of mental health issues, right? He got committed multiple times. And he and I, just because of like being not in the same town anymore, drifted apart. And from time to time, I would link up with him and connect with him. Last time I saw him was, my goodness, it's probably 10 plus years ago. It was right before, because Grandma Shirley ended up passing away. She actually came to Fargo, and there's this really funny scene that basically laid out. I hadn't seen her for a long time, or Garrett, and I had just got married, and we all wanted to go and meet somewhere, and there used to be this nightclub in Fargo called Mr. G's. And for whatever reason, I think it was because it was by the place that I worked, we all met up there, and it's like supposed to be like this kind of like up and coming like nightclub type of thing.
Okay.
And there's all of us sitting in this back corner. It's my mom, she had me when she was 36, so she's way older than everyone else. Shirley, who was like Methuselah old, man. I mean, she was already like, when I was a kid, she was old, right? We're all sitting in the back, all hanging out. My mom ordered a drink. I've never really ever seen my mom drink. And so like we're all hanging out. But that was probably like, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago. And then Shirley passed away after that. So every once in a while, like Garrett will reach out to me, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I hope you're doing well, but bro, like, I just don't need any of that really in my space. And you said something earlier, right, about when you start to have these conversations about stuff, it comes, it just attracts it, right? Again, whether it's an audible thing, looking for an opportunity to be able to attach themselves, because I think, like, at the end of the day, the entire intent and reason that Satan exists is to have vengeance against God, right? Like, he wants to destroy all of God's creations. All of the demonic entities want to help further that in any way, shape, or form. And that's why, to me, when we talk about these evil acts that occur, and people are like, that was an act of evil, and it's like, well, what do you mean by evil? And to me, I think a lot of that does come back to demonic oppression. It doesn't mean that individuals can't on their own decide to do evil things. I think that can happen, right? People can just choose to do bad things. But I do think that's all really influenced by demonic entities and presences. Because sometimes people are like, that person just looks evil, and it's hard for them to describe it. So they just say they look evil.
Right.
And I'm like, well, see, when most of the time when I see that, I'm like, I can feel that evil, like that energy, that demonic energy.
Yep.
It is there. And some people have that aura, man. And some people love the aura and they feed into it.
Yep.
And I think if you look through a lot of like big prolific serial killers and stuff like that, that's where you get into some just crazy places when you start to read about what they actually felt. And to me, it goes hand in hand.
I agree.
Right? Like, it's very rare that you will ever find someone that is truly, you know, expressing a Christian belief that are doing atrocious things. There are people that have used it as a mask or have, you know, basically created blasphemy, right? Like saying that they're doing something in Jesus Christ, you know, pushes them to do this evil act. And it's like, bro, that's not at all. Not at all. You're
it happens
corrupting
all the time. And people who are, everyone, but Christians especially, should be very aware of that. You know, like there's a lot of people who try to wear Christ as if, you know, they're good people.
Yeah.
It's just a costume.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Ted Bundy did it at the end of his life. I didn't really buy his story in the end when he said he was born again.
No.
Because he was, you know, there's levels to the demons too.
There are, dude.
You know, like I went and helped Alex Rosen catch some pedophiles in Ohio. And that's when I was like, I never used the word demon in my life. Like, seriously. Until recently. And when I saw these guys, I'm like, these men are demons.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you can call them. This is straight up evil. And you know, but some of those guys are like low tier evil, right? And you think about, because they're not really thinking high level like how Ted Bundy would, or you know, all the serial killers who were prolific for 30 years. It's really wild. So Garrett's still around.
Garrett's still around, yeah. Last time I heard like anything is like he sent me a Facebook message because we were on Facebook for a while, and then I don't know if he deleted his account or something, but it's probably like 4 years ago, and I think he's married to someone or something like that.
That's good.
You know? So yeah, it's wild though, man. I mean, when you think about how do you try and, you know, organize all these things into buckets and move forward and not have this thing like overtake your life on like a regular basis. Yep. I think that's difficult too, but I do believe in the power of redemption. Yeah, right.
Same.
Now, if Garrett called me and he was like, "Hey, man, you know, like I'm a born again Christian and I'm doing all these things and blah blah blah," then I'd probably be more interested.
Yeah.
But if not, like, there, I think comes a time where people have been oppressed for so long that they want to bring that oppression onto other people.
Oh yeah, and,
you know?
And that evil wants to latch onto anything else.
Yeah, 100%.
It's contagious. Not that it's contagious, but it's like
it feeds on it.
It likes being around anything that it knows is good or is trying to be good.
Yeah,
and wants to suck all that goodness out. And I mean, you can see evil. It doesn't just come through people who have been traumatized. Like you're talking about, you know, something earlier that made me think of just people on drugs. Like you see people on fentanyl and stuff.
Dude.
That stuff is a portal.
110%.
Evil stuff, right?
And that's why to me, especially when people talk about like using psychedelic drugs and doing all these things, I'm like, listen, man, because this veil exists, I think things that you do that weaken your consciousness, even to the point like, and this is why in certain Pentecostal and non-denominational communities, they're very against like anesthetics that bring them under. Because I think that even going under and losing your consciousness, if you're not spiritually prepared, can be an open door. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I believe even like there's so many different layers to this, but whenever you open your mind to certain things, like even in my opinion, certain forms of meditation, unless you're meditating from a godly perspective, is opening yourself up. Even things like yoga. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. And I know that some people are gonna be like, "Bro, you're crazy," but anything that you're like, you know, clear your mind, let go of control. I'm like, and open it to the devil.
Yeah, dude. My son's friend, the friend has an older brother. He's probably like 15, 16. But when he was a little boy, his father was telling me that they were doing some yoga thing. These are born-again Christians. Sure. And they wanted him to say namaste. And when he was 5 or 6, that kid was like, "I'm not saying it." And he got in a little bit of trouble with it. I guess it was a classroom setting or something. Okay. And he was like, I only pray to Christ. Yeah. And I was like, that's pretty gangster for a 5 or 6-year-old.
Hey, man, he knew what it was,
You're doing something right as the parents. But no, I think so. I think it can open you up. So would you not take anesthesia?
No, I do. But I just going into it, you're prepared.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like anytime I've ever had to go under, it's like I'm praying for protection before I go under.